Listen up close now what I say. I'm gonna head out west one day.
And Monday scratch it off, you couldn't claim anything that you won. All you do is scratch it off, and if you win anything, like if it's like this item or like money off the shipping or something. Let you know how much and what, who got your lapidary, all that. And
tickets for that gold bar and membership.
I got one of those because
It's running now.
Okay.
Do her, all right.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Drop in.
I usually use a smaller pan.
Yeah, we had the last guy who wanted to know if he could use his claw, but we got to do it all the same to make it fair.
Yes.
Okay, what's it start then?
As soon as you touch it,
Oh, really?
yep, you're probably going to get your sleeves wet. You know, we have a towel. As soon as you touch it, and then as soon as you get all three nuggets, you'll be on time.
Okay.
Okay?
Ready?
All right. Turn it up.
Ah, probably messed up. That's just one. That's two. There, turn it up.
That's all right.
Still slow.
I'll give you a hint. You want to keep her in the water a little more,
Yeah.
but you had the right idea.
now we got to locate these two.
The one, the quartzy one's the one.
Oh, pinpointer, good idea.
Yeah.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to be a real gold miner?
Okay, here,
That's horrible.
Let you know how much and
Yeah, you go on the website.
who got your lapidary,
And everything. We're
all
selling
that. And
tickets for that gold bar and membership.
I got one of those because
Check, check. Can you guys hear me all right? Not more importantly, though, can you hear Emily?
Can everybody hear me? All right, we'll turn up the levels a little bit. I got a broadcast. Okay, cool. How are the levels now, everybody? You good? We good? Thanks, Kevin. It's a great guy right there. Whew. How's everyone doing? Good. Is everybody mostly from this area? Anybody from Australia? No Aussies in the audience tonight? Wow, well this is cool. It's cool to be here. Hey, if you wanted to come in, man, come on in. What is this? I'm not going to beat you up. Maybe later. Wow, this is great. This is my first time in Ohio, and I love the people. I was hanging out in Columbus and Springfield yesterday, and everyone's been incredibly friendly, which is probably something that you guys are familiar with. That southern-ish hospitality. almost southern. My name is Emily Riedel. I'm guessing a lot of you might know who I am, and if you don't, you can just exit over here. I have one of the best jobs anybody can have. And because you're here, you understand what I mean by that. working as a gold miner for 8 seasons now has been one of the greatest privileges of my life and also one of the greatest challenges. The last 8 years seems to kind of encompass all of the hurdles I've ever had to jump through in life. Now, granted, I just turned 30 this year, so there's probably a couple more obstacles coming on in life, but Nome has definitely thrown a few. Regardless, I will say that I think there's something that we all value here, and this is why I love to come to these events and hang out with people like you guys, because we all value what independence means and what it means to, you know, really do one of the more, I think, American dream jobs that can possibly exist, right? This is truly, being a gold miner, seeking gold, being a prospector, requires all of the things we've ever heard about that encompass the American dream. Self up by your bootstraps, working hard, being resilient, being creative, and best of all, not having a boss. You know, being kind of the master of your own destiny. That's what gold mining is about for me. And I'm sure it is for you guys too. Now, I went up to Nome for a very weird reason, originally. I had my degree in operatic singing, my bachelor's in music. And when I graduated, I wanted to go on to grad school, and I didn't really, I don't know, there was a lot of other options other than gold mining. Upon reflection, there's a lot of other avenues I could have taken. But I didn't want to go into debt. It just wasn't really an option for me at the time. And I wanted to do something where I could jump in, get a good amount of money, and jump out and go to school. And I had a friend, his name is Zeke, a childhood friend of mine, and he was up mining in the Northwest. And you know, he'd been up there for a couple of years. We'd kind of always heard about it. And he invited myself and my father to come up to Nome and mine, and we were some of the people crazy enough to go do it. So I arrived there in that spring of 2011 with a bachelor's degree in music. I hadn't really spent a lot of time on boats. I didn't really know what spark plugs were. I'd never so much as changed the oil in my vehicle, and I had never snorkeled before, much less done any diving. So it was a whole new world for me, and it was a baptism by fire. Now, one unexpected development in my journey up to Nome was the fact that Discovery Channel was in the process of looking into developing a show up there, and they were in the early stages. They hadn't had a cast figured out yet. They weren't really sure what they were doing. They didn't really know what was going on, the rest of us. And when I went to Nome, they were up there kind of scouting for people, and they heard about a 21-year-old aspiring opera singer, and they're like, wow, that's weird. And so that's kind of how we got involved. It was just a very random thing. I came to Nome, and I started diving, and I started trying to get involved in the business, and they kind of were shooting with us on and off. They weren't really sure who we were. We weren't really sure what was going on with them. I think one of the earlier conversations I had with Zeke was, you know, we were like, wow, this is weird. I mean, reality TV, it's kind of like a thing in Alaska, apparently. And we were like, well, you know, once the show comes out, you know, people are probably going to know who we are and Nome, so that's going to be weird. So it was a weird combination of events. You know, being in Nome, trying to learn this bizarre process of mining for gold, and also in conjunction with that being filmed for a reality TV show. And just that first year was for me, it was all about learning, right? It was going into an industry that is indescribably challenging unless you've done it. And a lot of you in this room, you know the joys of prospecting, the highs and lows of looking for gold, the frustrating moments, the despair when things are going wrong, the pride and the joy when things are going right. A lot of you know what that's like and have been living with it for years. And hopefully, if you don't know what that's like, you should go find out because it's kind of amazing. Gold mining is one of the most bipolar industries that exist. Because when things are going well, when you're on the gold, when you're finding those ounces, when your equipment is working, when you're getting there, when you're accomplishing this business, you never feel better. But there are those days when everything's breaking down, you're not getting on it, you're not getting the ounce per average that you want, and you just don't have any other choice but to find it somehow within you to just keep going, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Those are the highs and lows of gold mining, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And during that time, I was just starting to learn. And I don't know, I'm sure some of you have watched from the beginning, and I think about those early times, and I just remember being overwhelmed. I don't think I really knew how to have a work ethic. Like one that's demanded of a gold miner, especially one that's demanded of a gold miner in the Northwest. Nome is a unique place for gold. It has incredibly high concentrations of placer gold offshore and in the streams. The gold purity is also quite high, and for some reason it seems to be heavily concentrated 2 miles offshore and then 2 miles inland. And so there have been a lot of successful inland mines, and we credit the source of the gold. A lot of it's alluvial gold, a lot of it's marine gold, stream gold, and it's just been, the area is such a unique geological phenomena. Like it doesn't really exist anywhere else in the world. That kind of high concentration, that purity of the gold. So what that looks like to me and so many other people that have come up there with dreams, it's opportunity, right? I mean, I think that the first big discovery was about 1865 with the 3 lucky Swedes in Anvil Creek, and that kind of started, like I think the Yukon Gold Rush, the California Gold Rush, those were kind of like dying out, and then Nome was the new great discovery. Now, the problem with mining in Nome is that it's remote, it's only connected by the air or the sea, and so getting equipment up there, getting a setup, a stake up there is incredibly difficult. Getting a claim up there, just the logistics in themselves are quite challenging. It takes a lot of will. Unfortunately, it takes a decent amount of money too, just to survive up there. I mean, I think a gallon of milk is like, I don't know, $9.50 or so, and rent is quite unaffordable. It just builds and builds and builds. But I think that the unique thing about Nome for me, one of the reasons why I'm so in love with the industry, is you don't have to be a part of a multi-million-dollar corporation. You don't have to be a part of something bigger than yourself, something that you can't see the beginning or the end of, something that you have no control over. You only have to be you. And anybody with a will and a mind and a work ethic and a drive can go up to Nome, get some barely floating barge and some barely functioning equipment and push it offshore and go mine in the Bering Sea for gold. And that's why it's the American dream. Because you don't have a boss, it's you and it's who you are, and it's what you do with the limited resources you have. Some of the earliest offshore gold miners because, you know, there was a great deal of inland mining, you know, some larger corporations, some smaller guys, you know, like the bucket miner dredges. That's like one example of just like large production gold onshore. But, so, you know, in the 80s, you know, they were kind of like, hey, what happens if we go south? What's up there in that ocean? And that was kind of the first instances of offshore suction mining and diving and dredging for gold. And some of those earliest dredges didn't even have outboard motors on them. All they were a couple of pontoons, a pump, a little sluice box, and then you tie an anchor line to your ATV on shore. And whenever you wanted to move, since the gold concentrations, the gold deposits largely run parallel to shore, whenever you wanted to move, you just kind of drove back and forth, dragging your dredge. So it was a struggle, and there was a lot of like renegade dudes going out there, you know, attempting it in dry suits, attempting it in wetsuits, and just getting really, really cold. You know, just like in the 1800s, the gold rushes of the 1800s, there's a lot of early entrepreneurs that suffered a lot in order to get a little. And sometimes they got a lot. And that's kind of what gold mining is today, now. You know, the area of Nome and the harbor, the parking offshore, it's littered with people who came up with a dream, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And for whatever reason, they had to leave their equipment behind and go do a 9-to-5 job. Which I don't, you know, I think that they tried, and I think that they're great people. I just think that sometimes the obstacles are insurmountable, and you can't. But I mean, aside from that, I so much believe in what we do up there because it is universally accessible to anyone, and that's why I love it. That's what it means to me. It's true independence, and there's really no job that's worth losing that independence to me. And that's why 8 seasons later, I'm still doing it. In spite of the fact that, as many of you know, I've had my own challenges, my own obstacles with it. My second year of gold mining, I had a couple of really traumatizing diving experiences. My first ever dive lesson in Nome was essentially my friend Zeke handing me a regulator and a pair of goggles and saying, "Hey, go down, exhale when you come up." that was my instruction for doing this job. And I think the lack of training, the lack of preparation for what is, in all actuality, quite a dangerous job. I mean, you're operating heavy equipment underneath the sea. You're attached to an umbilical that gets tangled pretty easily. It can happen in a flash. You can go seeing gold on the bottom and everything feels great to having some kind of immortal occurrence happen, you know, with your airline or losing air or getting tangled or losing anchor, getting dragged around, getting sucked up into the hose, not being able to cut off the suction in time. There's so many things, and for me, I had a couple of back-to-back dive incidences that really kind of warped my thinking under the water. I kind of developed this phobia about diving that really was on the verge of just sort of canceling my entire mining career, you know? Because I believe in merit, I believe in hard work, and I believe in having the right to belong somewhere, having the right to belong in an industry. And when I stopped being able to dive, I genuinely felt that gold mining wasn't for me. Like the gold diving offshore was not going to be my thing because I couldn't do the job. And it's very important to me to do the job and to do the job well. And so I was actually on the verge of quitting my job, my second year at the end of my second year in Nome, I was like, well, if I can't do the work, if I can't perform, if I can't mine, actually dredge for gold underneath the sea, what the heck am I doing here? And I don't know. I had this sudden shift where I was working with people. I was working with my dad, actually, my dad Steve, and I saw how people were running their operations, and I saw how they were messing up. And I was like, you know, I might not be able to dive, but I could sure as heck run an operation with this. And when the opportunity came up to buy Zeke's dredge, I don't know, I felt right. I felt that that was going to be my transition point. That was going to be a way for me to find purpose in the industry again. So I took the leap. I bought the dredge. I've made constant modifications to it since. And it took me a couple of years, but eventually I kind of figured out how to find the right crew, run the right crew, look for the right ground, and make the right adaptations on equipment on the dredge to actually make a profit. And I can't even tell you how good it feels to have a cleanup where the ounces are pouring in, where you're weighing out 70 ounces of gold, and you look at that and you see the merit of so much chaos, so much struggle, so many fights, and losing crew and gaining crew, and being stabbed in the back by people that you trust, and in all these battles that you fight, and at the end of the day, finally seeing those kinds of ounces on the scale. There's really nothing better. And the fight continues, you know. This is my 6th year of being a boat owner, a proud, very proud boat owner, and it's hard to explain, but the industry of gold mining in Nome was such a scary and insurmountable thing to me at times. And now it's all of those things, but it feels possible now. That's the difference, so that it feels possible. I feel confident for the first time. I know my boat, I know my equipment, I found a crew that I could really trust. You know, everything feels within my control. And after years of struggle and uncertainty about the business, I can stand here in front of you guys and say, hey, gold mining, this is amazing. What an amazing job, what an amazing opportunity. Anything from seeing a couple of flecks in a vial to seeing ounces and ounces in your sluice box, it doesn't matter. Gold is freedom, gold is independence, gold is the American dream realized, and it's so amazing to stand in front of you guys and say that. So, I've talked a little bit and told you a little bit of my story, and I now want to hear from you. So, if you guys have any questions at all.
I got a couple. Zeke, is he still mining, even though he's not on the show anymore? And also, how many hours per day average do you run your dredge? Is it a 24-hour thing, or is it just 8 hours like on the show? You know, you go out for, because I know to make money, you really got to run it.
That was 3 questions, but I'll forgive you. First question, is Zeke still mining? You know, it's funny how, like, Zeke and I actually haven't worked together for a while, and it's interesting to see how people are still attached to our relationship, our tumultuous relationship, and it's fine. It's really fine. It's amazing how that kind of sticks in everyone's memory. I mean, Zeke's a good friend of mine. We've had a lot of difficulty in our relationship as friends, but at the end of the day, you know, our dads were best friends in high school, and we did grow up together. So, you know, it's important to kind of maintain that feeling of closeness, that relationship. I don't know, you know, how far back all y'all go, but something happened, and the slightly unpredictable and inclement weather is a regular thing. You know, we dredgers, we can't mine anything over 15 knots. So basically, anytime there is a moment of calm out there on the Bering Sea and Nome Sound, we jump out there, we jump on it. We have no schedule. You know, if it gets calm at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're out there at 3 o'clock in the morning. Do we wake up the camera guys? No. You know, my philosophy on television and gold mining is that gold mining first, television maybe later. Like, like it's
Nome, Alaska.